Do you like fantasy football and sports betting? Come join us here where hosts Matt, Shane, and Jason talk about fantasy players, lineups, and sports betting to help you compete and win championships. And of course, some extra cash. Let's jump right into the show.
Yo, 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 yo. Welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of the Parlay Fantasy Football Podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed that new little intro that Shane put together for us. Shane, thank you so much, because that is dope.
You know, we're trying to do big things around here. We've got big things coming, got big things going. So, you know, just trying to make it everything nice for everybody.
Yes, it definitely is fantastic, guys. Like we said, man, we are moving north. Train is moving north here. We're excited for just everything to come, all the future stuff. It's exciting, guys. If you guys want to follow us on any of our social media accounts, you can find Shane at Shane Parlay FF on X. You can find Jason at Jason Parlay FF. You can find myself at Matt_Parlay FF. Remember, guys, we are now partnered with F6P Fantasy Six Pack. If you did not notice by the intro, and just by everything we've been posting recently, okay? More things are going to start rolling, all right? But head on over to fantasy6pack.net, become an all-access member, guys. You can go over to their site and you can look at some of their stuff that they got going on right now, but go over there, become an all-access member, because that will unlock so much more. There is a lot of stuff in there. They know what they're doing over there. Go do it. Go do it right now, all right? If you guys want to follow this show, head on over to Fantasy Six Pack for the video version. It is on their YouTube page, and the audio version will still be coming out on the Parlay Fantasy Football Podcast everywhere on all podcasting platforms. We are in the mix transition of moving from one host site to another. Currently working on that right now. So that being said, guys, how are you guys doing tonight?
I am doing fan-freaking-tastic. It is great to be back, and it is great to know that we are officially one freaking Sunday from having football, like real football. No offense to the college guys out there, but like real football, folks, on Thursday, like of all days. Like, geez, let's get it.
Yeah, we're about to be intoxicated with football for I think every week until February or something like that. It's something crazy. Hey, I love it. I'm here for it. Glad to be back with y'all. And Shane, I didn't know you were so artistic with your editing skills online.
I try. Call me Van Gogh, but I'm not going to lop off an ear for you guys.
That's all you had off the top.
Listen. It's super dope. It's super dope, super crazy from basically here on out, man. From Thursday, Wednesday night even, there's some college games, but from Thursday to Monday, Tuesday, actually, it's football nonstop. This time of year, I'll tell you one thing right now, man. My wife is very angry. Let's put it that way. She's very angry with me because I am watching football virtually constantly. And, there's only a couple days out of the week, but I always tell her, I said, you can come downstairs, you can hang out with me, you can chill with me. I don't know. How do you guys fare with that?
I tried to submit an application to my wife that was me saying I would be. Yeah. And that did not go well. So yeah, with the new kid, that was not my best. Yeah, I can't really phone it in. So but definitely watching football all the time.
Yeah, I don't have to ask anybody any permission to watch football. I'm single as a Pringle, so I don't have to worry about that.
Hey, real quick before we jump into the show, guys, we got some stuff we need to talk about today. But yeah, have you seen that video where the husband like submitted that 2-week notice to his wife?
Yeah, I actually took, he like posted the actual like thing he sent her, and I took it and I was like, hey Pam, here, this is what I'm sending you. She
Here's
didn't
my
find it as
eviction.
funny as I did.
My
Yeah, she's
eviction
probably
notice right here.
yeah. Yeah. No, we're really excited, man. There's a lot to go over. We're just excited that football's back. But tonight, guys, we're going to basically be talking about, obviously last weekend was a big draft weekend for a lot of people. This weekend and week is another big draft weekend. Probably the last draft weekend that's probably going to be happening before football actually starts for the NFL. Tonight, we just kind of want to go over some people. Obviously, if you've seen the news, we'll get into that in a minute. But a lot of teams had to make their final roster cuts today. Today was the deadline for that. So we're going to go over like players really to look for if you are drafting last minute. Certain players that you can snatch and grab and put on your fantasy roster, whether it's a deep stash on a deep league or a player that you could potentially put in your flex right off the get. So we're going to do that. We're going to get into some news and notes, and let's just jump right into it.
News and notes around the league.
All right, big news. Big news. AJ Dillon on the IR ends his season, which means it is officially Josh Jacobs and then either Emmanuel Wilson or Marshawn Lloyd. So, yeah, sad season for AJ Dillon. The vulture is out of the building, as they would say in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Here's a fun thing. Jacoby Brissett is still being touted as the starter for New England, despite Drake May showing out in recent weeks. So
really,
yeah, I was kind of shocked by that when that came across. And then some other fun things. A bunch of guys that were kind of fringe people that, had pockets in the fantasy world, like Evan Hull. Evan Hull got waived today. Brendan Rice, Jerry Rice's son, made the 53-man roster in in Chargers land out there. So bolt up for that. Kyren Williams, for those of you that get fantasy points for punt returns, he's going to be the punt returner. That's sick.
Do you like that? As a starting running back and a person, because I know Shane, I know you love Kyren Williams. You have him on your roster in a couple leagues. Does that scare you a little bit, or you okay with it, or what are your thoughts on that?
It kind of scares me. The more you touch the football, the more likely you are to get injured. And punts and kickoffs are the most violent aspects of the sport.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Punts
it worries
now.
me. Well, yeah, punts now. But yeah, it does worry me. It worries me quite a bit.
Because he's going off the board. He's going off the board. What RB? Where's he going? I know he's going in swing.
Like RB
RB 5.
RB is he 5? No, that's JT.
I mean, he's going in the second round. So
yeah,
like,
he's going somewhere in the second round. Yeah.
That's what makes me like, man, that's kind of that makes me a little bit apprehensive, kind of like you. Like, I'm not like crazy worried about it. It's not like I'm not going to draft him, but it is kind of a scary feeling.
It adds another level. It adds another level where you're like concerned about his overall health, which a guy who hasn't stayed healthy for an entire football season already, you're already worried about that. That adds a whole new aspect of like, I don't know that I love this, but if he returns a punt, it's sick because you get points still.
Right.
So hopefully he's a good punt returner.
I'd rather my dynamic players be on kickoff rather than punt or returning punts. Sorry.
Well, I mean, I understand that, and that's a good point. It's worrisome because for a lot of people who have already drafted or are going to be drafting soon, that's potentially their RB1, right? I mean, especially if they go wide receiver first round and they get him in the second, that's your RB1. So it's like you're excited, but you also have that little like nerve factor of scary moments.
You might be more excited if you have Blake Corum.
Yes, it is definitely a move in the right direction for Blake.
Yeah.
Speaking of, pass catchy guys, Samaje Perine was officially released. So I'm assuming he will be getting a phone call from one Jerry Jones shortly, along with a couple of other teams, maybe Cleveland. I thought that was interesting. that the Broncos decided to move on from Samaje, but they have a massive backfield already with Andre Esme and Javonte and Jalil. Like, they have a three-headed monster there. They don't need the fourth. Fun thing that well, not fun. Let me rephrase that. None of this is fun. These guys are real people, and they're losing their jobs. Tim Patrick was cut and then was immediately signed by Detroit. So, fun thing that he was signed immediately. Sad thing that he's no longer with his former team of like 4 or 5. I don't even know how many years he was there in Denver, but Michael Carter.
Go ahead.
What, Jay?
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say Elijah Mitchell was placed on season-ending IR.
Yeah.
So Jordan Mason has a sole backup role in San Francisco.
Yeah, and Isaac Grindo.
Correct. Isaac Grindo.
Yeah, who you called out.
Isaac Grindo, if he gets a chance, is one of the most explosive players in football. But we didn't see it in the preseason. He did not look good, and then he got banged up. So time will tell on that one. But, CMC took a massive workload last year, so it matters that Jordan Mason is now officially the backup, and he played well in the preseason. You should have faith in drafting Jordan Mason, especially like late in the rounds. Like, grab the other person's handcuff. Go ahead and lock that up. Michael Carter was released by the Cardinals, who has been on multiple different teams recently and had a good showing in the preseason, so it's kind of surprising he was cut. They kept DJ Dallas and Emery DeMarcado, despite the fact that both of them sucked.
Yeah.
So maybe Michael Carter's a Cowboy? I don't know. Somebody's a Cowboy. That's the main thing.
You would think. And then Dalvin Cook's visiting Dallas today.
Yeah, he said he feels the best he's ever felt.
Yeah, of course. You're going to say that if you can get a contract. That's like the coach. I feel great. I feel really good.
I'm back, baby.
Yeah.
Dallas is definitely going to do something. Go ahead, Shane.
Completely random other thing. Anders Carlson, the kicker in Green Bay, was released today. He lost to Daniel Carlson. He lost the competition to Greg Joseph. So Greg the Leg is now in Green Bay, and he kicked out Anders Carlson. That's pretty shocking, because Carlson was not like, he wasn't good, but like, he wasn't bad. He has a cannon for legs. He did. He missed 5 of his 39 extra points too, which is really bad. And he only had an 81% conversion rate from field goal attempts. So like, I get it, but it sucks. I mean, Greg the Leg is a beast. So Greg the Leg stock on the rise.
What was his team before that?
The Jets. Greg the Leg was on the Jets last year.
Yeah, and he was with the Vikings for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Did you see that Deonta Foreman got cut?
No.
It says the Browns have cut running back Deonta Foreman. How crazy is that? And there was some buzz around him taking some of the goal line work.
Yeah, and that's crazy. They now are featuring Jerome Ford and Pierre Strong because Nick Chubb is officially on the PUP list too. So that's crazy. Odell is also on the PUP list. Odell may never play another snap in the NFL. He may just retire. So that's interesting. What?
Undisclosed injury.
Yeah. So, he's doing the Will Fuller thing. Getting the bag and then just walking out the door.
Yeah.
And and Shane, your love for the Kansas City Chiefs, the Dallas Cowboys traded Peyton Hendershot to the Chiefs after they released Herb Smith earlier. What do you think?
Yeah, that was a coinciding move, and I loved it. I like Peyton Hendershot. Yeah, I really like Peyton Hendershot. It kind of actually sucks though, because I like Jared Wiley. Yeah, like I like what I've seen from him. It means we're keeping 4 tight ends, which I don't love either. And I think that's one reason that they didn't hold on to like Justin Ross, because I think Justin Ross was probably like maybe that borderline guy, maybe like Deneric Prince too, because they also got cut.
Yeah, that's surprising. We talked about that before the podcast because there was a lot of buzz around Deneric Prince, and then Carson Steele kind of showed out big time, which I actually love that. I love after watching his preseason highlights, which I think I did that last night. I watched a lot of his preseason highlights. I'm like, okay, boy, this dude here could have some game.
Yeah, don't sleep on Carson Steele. That man is a big, angry dude who runs fast. He's not going to win a ton of wind sprints, but like that dude is moving at the size that he is. It's crazy.
Yeah, he runs like Pacheco, man. They both just run super angry, like they just want to destroy people. I love that.
Yeah, and that's the Chiefs' calling card for running backs. And speaking of the Chiefs, Kadarius Toney, that one is a big one. He was waived by the Chiefs this morning. He was actually the first player announced to be waived by the Chiefs.
Yeah,
it's hysterical.
They're like, we ain't gonna have you drop the ball no more.
Butterfingers, get out of here.
Yeah.
Where do you think he lands? You know he'll land on a roster. Where do you think a good destination spot for him would be?
The Chargers.
Buffalo.
Ooh.
Buffalo wouldn't be bad. I think the Chargers makes sense. I think Buffalo makes sense.
Patriots.
Yeah, the Patriots.
Let's add another one. Let's add another receiver over there.
Yeah, just stack them up. They're gonna no, Jason. The Patriots are gonna sign Terrence Marshall Jr. That's what's gonna happen. That is the most Patriots thing possible. Let's take this broken toy and see if we can use it.
So, real quick for all of our listeners, Shane scared the crap out of me earlier this week and said, "Hey, there's news that teams are trying or acquiring about Metchie," and I was like, "No."
Yeah, that's still in the rumor mill. It's still
do that.
It's still people are still
I love
calling
that. When I saw that text, I absolutely love that. Jason, I mean, come on, dude. Like, I'm not saying that John Metchie is not a good receiver. He's in the NFL, so he's a good receiver. But what did you not see what Xavier Hutchinson did this preseason? He looked extremely good, bro.
My dude came off cancer and is now back. He looks like the guy that we drafted from Bama.
Yeah, you're not wrong. He did look really good in the preseason. I like him. I understand though if you're as an organization are like we have a lot of depth. Let's move on. But speaking of that, they cut Noah Brown, and
I saw that.
Another casualty was Isaiah Spiller. Isaiah Spiller was cut, which means Kamani Vidal made the roster, baby.
He did. And I think what were you calling for that earlier this year, Shane? I think you are the one that brought up Kamani, weren't you?
Yeah, actually, shout out D-Bro over at Fantasy Pros for putting me on Kamani. I saw him play against the Cats, like in person. What was that, 2 years ago when they played Troy at home?
Yeah.
That dude is a beast, like an absolute freak of nature. And then I saw him, like, obviously I watched the game they played against Troy again this past year, and he tore up the Cats again. And I was like, okay, this guy's different. He's built different. And then the buzz started happening, and I was like, I'm here. I'm on it. Like, let's get it.
Dude,
but yeah.
those of you that are just listening to the audio side of it, if you would have seen Shane's face there, he had like a sensual look. Like, I dig it. Yeah.
It was yeah. Watching him in person was a whole different perspective. Like, this is a small college guy that's just balling out against like a pretty decent big D1 school. I mean, you got to get props.
100%. Yeah, 100%. Desmond Ritter cut.
Yeah, I did see that.
I was like, oh man, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Speaking of another one bites the dust. The Zap attack is officially out in New England, so no more Zappy.
Yep.
Unfortunately, you hate to see it.
I mean, you guys have already heard about the news already. I'm sure you've heard it. Obviously, big news. CeeDee Lamb finally signed his contract. What do you guys make of that? Because it's a massive deal. Like, what are you guys like? It's about time. Like, it's crazy.
About time.
Yeah, it made sense.
Yeah,
and he didn't demand to be the highest paid guy. Like, that wasn't like what was keeping it off the table. He was like, just pay me. Like, I don't need to beat Justin's contract. Just give me what I deserve.
Right.
Yeah, give me low 30s and guaranteed money, and we're good.
Yeah,
and it's crazy because there was a lot of people drafting last weekend, and I partook in a draft in Kansas City. Drove to Kansas City, did a live draft there with in my home league. and I was picked 105, I think. Yeah, I think I was picked 105. I ended up with Amon-Ra St. Brown. But at 104, the guy, CeeDee Lamb, was still sitting there. And he's like, man, I don't know. Like, I want to take him, but it's scary. Like, if you drafted last weekend without knowing exactly what could happen, because Shane, you alluded to it last week. Obviously, the whole Brandon Ayuk situation, that hasn't changed, but he has to play. CeeDee Lamb could have held out. So it's like, you want to draft him because of who he is and what he's going to do, but it was scary at the moment because it's like, dude, I could draft somebody in the first round, pick 103, 104, whatever it is, and they hold out. But yes, I am happy to see that he finally got the deal done, back at practice today, which brings me to my next one. Jamar Chase was back at practice as well. Still no contract there, but it is a report saying, like you said again, Shane, last week, he's not going to miss the season opener. But what happens here now? Do you think he's going to get a similar contract just because of who he is and the dynamic player he is on the field?
Yeah, I do. I really do. I think that he's probably going to get a very large sum of money deposited into his account. And we'll see what happens there. Sorry, I'm trying to block Pam. You guys don't need to see a dirty baby diaper. But yeah, so we're I really do think that Jamar gets the bag, and I don't think there's any way that they can really fight that at this point, like with the trend. And they're not gonna let him walk. Him and Joe Burrow are the tightest of tight. There's not a chance in hell they let him walk. They'll let T walk. They won't let Jamar.
Agreed. I think it's going to be a very similar contract. He might just get more guaranteed, but he's not going to get more than JJ.
Nor should he. No one should be paid more than JJ. JJ is one of the only wide receivers in the NFL that should be deemed quarterback proof at this point.
Right.
Other than that, not a whole lot of other crazy things have happened.
Right. Yeah, I mean, a lot of teams, all the teams, like I said earlier, they had to make their final roster cuts today. Tuesday. You're going to be listening to this on Wednesday. So, yeah, if you want to see who gets cut, man, just go and check it out. It's all there. Frank Gore Jr. getting cut. That was kind of...
Yeah, it's sad.
It's a little sad. It's a little sad because, he wanted to be there. And he tried his hardest. Old poor Frank Gore Jr.
Yeah, he balled
out the last
somewhere else.
Game.
I think so. Yeah, somebody take a flyer on him. He'll end up on a practice squad at the minimum.
Right.
Another wild thing. People are just loving trading for quarterbacks that are borderline irrelevant. Malik Willis is now officially the backup in Green Bay, which is interesting because I kind of liked what I saw from the dude out of Tulane. Why am I blanking on his name? Someone help me. Matt, you're the college guy. Help me.
Out of Tulane, I know they had Sean Clifford from Penn State.
Sean was technically the backup, but hold on. Hold the phone. We have to look this up now.
Yeah, just look it up. While you're looking it up, Jason, what do you make of that? What do you make of Malik Willis while Shane looks that up?
I'm not too high on him, but at the same time, it's one of those things where not the biggest fan of Malik Willis, to be completely honest. Yeah, I'll just straight up say it.
I mean, my big thing is all the hype that surrounded him last year coming into the league, or 2 years ago, however long that was. Didn't really do anything. Obviously, you can look at the guy and know that he is an athletic specimen, right? I mean, he's big.
Small school
strong
guy.
Yeah, but it was kind of, to me, it just kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
That it's just like 1 minute you're not really hearing anybody talking about this situation, and then the next moment, boom, he's gone on a different roster.
I feel like this is the one thing about the NFL that Tom Brady said in that interview, to where rookies come in and they're automatically expected to show out. he had his opportunity his rookie year and didn't play very well, and basically everybody saw it on the weekends. He got his opportunity to start, and now after he didn't play well, it's like, he's trash.
Michael Pratt was the name I was searching for.
Okay.
Michael Pratt was cut despite the fact that he had a fantastic preseason and fantastic training camp. I thought there was a chance that they would have kept him, but it looks like he's not going to. Well, obviously he's not going to. I think he ends up landing somewhere and someone will put him on their, backup practice squad, or he'll be on their practice squad as the emergency third quarterback, but time will tell.
We'll see.
He lost me money against Ole Miss.
I slammed Tulane a lot last year because he was really good.
You and me both, brother. Okay. That's going to wrap up the news and notes. Let's get into... Shane's got his hand up.
Also, Bo Melton was traded. I don't know if you guys remember Bo Melton last year. Came in like the playoffs for the Packers and like the last two games for the Packers when they were, broken. Every single wide receiver on the roster was broken, and he popped off. The Chargers traded for him for a 7th round pick or a 6th round pick. Yeah, so he is now a Charger. Has officially made the roster with the Chargers. Yeah, a 2025 7th round pick is what they swapped for Bo Melton. So maybe Bo Melton makes a splash in LA.
I like that. I actually really do like that. Okay, let's jump into some fantasy football stuff, guys. Okay. Clearly, obviously, season's getting ready to start. Your fantasy drafts, if they're not winded up yet, they're going to be wound up probably this weekend. So now that all the cuts and most of the moves, I'm sure there'll be some more moves, but all the cuts have been made. Let's talk about some players to look for in your fantasy drafts. And I'll just start because there's a player that jumps off, and we've talked about him before. It's Michael Wilson, Arizona Cardinals. Zay Jones, suspended for the first 4 games. This is Michael's opportunity to do what he can to show out as best he can. He's virtually, in redraft leagues, he's virtually not being drafted. Okay. I actually just got back from my fantasy league where I drafted Michael Wilson in the 17th round. And in that round, again, 3 players, right? What are your guys' thoughts on that? Because I do think that Michael Wilson now has a shot to show himself in game form, playing alongside MHJ. Kyler Murray's back healthy. James Conner's back. What do you guys think of that? I really like the start of the season for Michael Wilson.
I mean, yeah, it allows him to build chemistry with Kyler. Obviously, he got to do that a little bit at the end of last year, but right. It's a different monster when you add the monster that is MHJ to that offense. He then bumps down. He was the main target. It was McBride, him, and Dortch. I mean, whatever that is. I think he bumps to maybe the 3rd or 4th passing option now, which kind of stinks. But, I do think that he has talent. I think he's a big-bodied wide receiver who, mirrors well to MHJ, and he's going to see much more favorable coverage. So, I think Wilson should definitely be getting drafted, especially like in redraft late rounds. Take a shot, and you could be getting an absolute steal. He could be. I think he's fringe wide receiver 3. Like,
yeah, I can see that.
Startable. Like, if you start 3 wide receivers, he is somebody you could probably throw into that 3rd wide receiver slot and not feel awful about it. Him and Greg Dortch both fit that description to me.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I like that. Shane, you got a player?
Oh, Jason, did you have a take on that?
No. You said it. You're good.
Will Levis is my player. Has looked like Will Levis. He absolutely has had ups and downs in the preseason, but with Ridley being there, them having the weapons they've added, I think everything is pointing up. And the last preseason, if that is what he takes into the season, he went and scored on both drives that he was there. He had 118 yards through the air. Like, he was 7 of 8. If you take that and he can move that momentum to the regular season, better watch out, because he is going completely undrafted in leagues. And I mean, if you're looking at a backup quarterback, why wouldn't you take somebody who has the upside of like a cannon arm, has zero cares about like his personal health? He just wants to get the ball in the end zone. I love what I see from him. I wish that some of his decision making would be a little better in, securing the football. But hey, he's a young guy. He reminds me a lot of Baker. Like how Baker plays, like the I don't give two shits attitude. Like that just screams Will Levis to me, except for I think Levis may have a better arm. And
It's
giving
powerful.
him,
I agree.
yeah, him having Ridley to go along D-Hop, who's going to be there for the first week of the season despite the injury, and Tony Pollard, and Tajay Spears, and Tyler Boyd. Like, that's a potent offense. And everyone's like, it's the Titans. But it's not the Vrabel Titans, baby. Like, it's a whole new offense. They're going to spread that ball out.
Especially with that new OC that they brought in there. I think they are going to throw the ball around this year.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they were one of the fastest pace of play teams they were one of the slowest last year. But the OC they brought in, I'm blanking. It's not Callahan. It's that's their line coach.
I can't think of the OC's name either.
I'll look it up real quick.
Tim Kelly.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Who in the past, was very pass heavy. I truly think that they're going to let this thing be an air raid and let Will Levis show them if he's the real deal or if they need to be shopping next year. That's my opinion. And why the hell not? Yeah, why the hell not? Mayo in your coffee.
Who's douchier, Will Levis or Baker Mayfield?
Will Levis. Dude, Baker's a pretty cool dude, man. Like, he's down to earth.
At first, though. When they both came out.
Levis literally invented a fake story about himself. He doesn't actually put Mayo in. Like, that's next level douchey.
I'm about to say, bro, like that's bad. Jason, who you got?
So I have Brian Robinson. I think he is getting overlooked with the signing of Austin Eckler, but last year he kind of had a low-key season last year that is overlooked. He didn't score the fantasy points that everybody wanted him to score. It was the RB14 in fantasy points per opportunity and RB22 in fantasy points per game. But he's going to be RB1 in that backfield, especially with Jaden Daniels. I think that run game and the read option game is going to give him a look, especially with a dynamic quarterback, to where he's going to get his opportunities. And whenever he hits the hole, he can hit a hole and he can run for a lot of yards. I like Brian Robinson, and I expect him to get in the end zone a lot more.
Yeah, I expect those yards to go up. They're going to come up against some interesting boxes because they're going to have to respect Jaden Daniels' ability to run the football. And yeah, I agree, Jason. And that's why I called you a son of a bitch, because he was my second player on my list of players to talk about. And now I have to find another one. But yeah, no, huge season incoming. He's going to split time with Austin Eckler, which sucks. But Austin Eckler, if he looks anything like he did last year, will not be splitting time with Brian Robinson as much as people think.
I'm going to jump in here. Mine's a little bit deeper, right? I'm actually going with a little bit of deeper players here, at least these first couple. It's Romeo Doubs. Romeo Doubs, wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers. All offseason, here even in the last few weeks, everybody's been talking about Jaden Reed, Christian Watson, Dontavian Wicks, all fantastic receivers. But no one ever talks about Romeo Doubs. Romeo Doubs is still, in my opinion, not saying he's wide receiver one there because they all think they're wide receiver ones, which is not a bad thing because there's no arguing. But Romeo Doubs was one of Jordan Love's most reliable targets last year. He can throw the ball up, and Romeo will go get that ball. Obviously, Christian Watson was hurt, so we could see some different things here this year. And even if you don't draft him late, because obviously, like I said, he'll be there at the end of your draft. And he really doesn't even go drafted. He might be a waiver wire pickup. All I'm saying is keep your eye on that Green Bay Packer wide receiving room, and just know that Romeo Doubs more than likely will not put up 0 points for your fantasy roster. He's not one of those boomer bust guys that you're hoping for a 50-yard touchdown pass or whatnot. He will put up some points probably in every single game. He's a very reliable receiver. Jordan Love loves to spread the ball around a lot. And if Christian Watson can stay healthy this year, I expect to see a little uptick in his volume, because we're all on the basis of who's going to be the top dog there. There is going to be a wide receiver one in that room, whether Jordan Love says it or not. Every single quarterback has their favorite target that they love to throw the ball to when they are in trouble, because that guy will go and get the ball, or at least do whatever he can to get the ball. Every quarterback has a wide receiver one. Trust me. So I'm excited to see what happens there. I know Romeo Doubs is a very consistent player. He will not give you 0 points. In my personal opinion, should he be on rosters? Depends on how big your league is, how many receivers you're playing. But I know for a fact that last year he got picked up off the waiver wire almost immediately. By like week 3, week 4, he was on people's teams, and he stayed on people's rosters all season because he put up fantasy points. Not going to be the sexiest numbers every week. He'll have his boomer bust games, just like most of the wide receivers, if you're not named any of those big name guys. But he will put up fantasy points, so that's someone just to keep an eye on. I really do like Romeo Doubs.
Yeah, if you saw Jordan Love's ultimate team of wide receivers that he created, then they did some podcast episode where they're like, build your best route tree. And they're like, who would you have in each spot? And Romeo Doubs was the guy he had out of, up there with like Jerry Rice and like all these other crazy dudes. And Romeo Doubs, he was like, yeah, Romeo's running a back shoulder fade to the end zone, and that's probably where the best one. Like, that kind of confidence in that receiver should definitely be like, oh, that's a good offense. I want him on my team. Speaking of another interesting offense, I won't say good because we don't know what the offense is going to really be. Josh Palmer.
I hate it.
I hate it, but I love it.
I love it.
Look, lad is a slot. That's what he is. That's going to be his role. He's probably not going to be on the field in 2 wide receiver sets. Josh Palmer is going to be a full-time wide receiver this year for the first time in his career. When Palmer filled in for Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, we saw flashes, and we know that Justin Herbert has the arm to facilitate multiple fantasy relevant players. Palmer's going to be the recipient of a lot of those passes this year. Why is he falling to like the 124th player off the board? It does not make sense that he is just buckets and buckets down the list. Like it makes no sense. He's going to be the number one guy in that offense as far as like snap share and routes run, and he may not have the sexy underlying numbers, but he's going to get you fantasy points. It's going to be consistent. It's not going to be sexy, but it's going to be consistent. It's someone you can throw in your slot in bye weeks, or if you end up with injury problems, like all of those things, and you're getting him in the 10th, 11th, 12th. I've seen him fall to the 14th round. Like,
yeah.
Why are we passing up guaranteed production?
I feel like a lot of people are passing it up because they want those big name guys. They see those name guys that I guess don't have that perception of being a relevant fantasy player for the roster. So they just pass on them and go for like rookies and stuff like that who are unproven, especially like Shane just said. You have these guys, these name guys who have proven themselves. They're guaranteed production. They're guaranteed playing time. But after like the 5th or 6th round, you're going after rookies that you have no idea whether they're going to even play in the first 4 weeks of the season. Get the fantasy guys now that are going to get you through the first 4 weeks. See what those rookies can produce, and then make a play out of them on waivers or trades or however you want to do it. But going after unproven guys that are rookies that you just don't know what are going to bring you earlier in drafts, that ain't going to win your fantasy league. That ain't going to do it.
Agreed.
Jason?
Yeah. My next one is going to be Jake Ferguson. If you're one of those guys who
did you take my? Did I share my list to you? What is going on with this?
Not. I'm just better than you. If you're one of those guys who doesn't want to key in on the top 3, 4 tight ends in the league, he's some guy that I think you can probably get in round. I think what's he going 7, 8? I'm not sure what his ADP is, but he finished tight end 8 and half point PPR last year. Cowboys offense is going to be pass heavy this season. They don't have a legit running back unless they sign someone off the streets. So they're gonna put the ball in Dak's hands and ask him to do a lot more than he even did last year. You're gonna see targets from Jake Ferguson. He's a good tight end, and I think you can get some end zone targets. He finished last year 71 catches for 761 yards and 5 touchdowns. So that's production right there, and I think it only gets better.
What you got, Shane?
Oh, it was you. Do you not have another one?
No, I just. Oh, it is me. Oh,
yeah.
But
no. By the way, Jake Ferguson, touchdown monster, and they don't have running backs. We keep talking about this. They don't have running backs. Smash him. I'm not going to list the next one because I'm going to use him now. But smash all of the Dallas dudes. Pause. Smash. Draft all of the Dallas guys.
This next one's pretty gross, and I think this is gonna be more of like a pickup off waivers because I know a lot of people have lost confidence in this quarterback. But it's a 2-pack. It's a pair of 2. It's Jalin Hyatt, and Wandale Robinson. Listen, guys, we all know the new sexiness and hotness of Malik Neighbors in New York. We know that he's a talented receiver. We know that he's going to get a crap ton of targets. But Daniel Jones has to throw to someone else too, right? And we know Theo Johnson, rookie tight end, Daniel Bellinger's still there. We don't know how that's going to all shape out. Devin Singletary, he's not a world beater. He's not going to set the world on fire, okay? He's a little above average running back, however you want to put it. Not going to set the world on fire. Tyrone Tracy, rookie running back. Daniel Jones has to throw the ball to someone else other than Malik Neighbors. People are forgetting it's Wandale Robinson, Jalin Hyatt. They have been blasted in training camp. They've both looked absolutely fantastic this year. I've heard a lot of great things about Jalin Hyatt. They are going to be on the field. They are going to have some balls thrown to them. Daniel Jones is not only going to hyper target Malik Neighbors. He has to throw it to other people. Keep an eye on Wandale Robinson, Jalin Hyatt. There's been some buzz going around New York in their training camp about these 2 wide receivers. And I don't disagree with them. Do I like Daniel Jones? Not really. Do I think he's a good quarterback? As of right now, no. But he does have a strong arm. He is athletic. If he can start reading the field better and making some smarter decisions with his throws, I think you can get some fantasy production out of at least one of those 2 receivers. I think you can really get a little bit of fantasy production out of it. So keep your eye on them. If you don't draft them, that's totally fine. I know they're really not being drafted unless you're in a dynasty or a deep league, like a 14 or 16 team league. So just keep your eye on them if you're in shallow leagues. They might be a very nice waiver wire snatch sometime this season.
I like that. I do, indeed. Also, I'll throw in Darius Slayton, who has perennially been on that team and been a producer and has been completely slept on for way too long. I think that the dart throw in the Giants wide receiver room makes a lot of sense. And I've been doing that in a ton of best ball drafts. It's also one of the cheapest stacks in best ball, but that's a whole different episode. Jalen Tolbert is the guy who I was alluding to earlier. Tolbert has absolutely torn up camp. We saw flashes of it last year. He's a huge human being, a massive human. He has officially won the wide receiver 3 job there in Dallas. Look, if you give me Brandon Cooks, CeeDee Lamb, and Jalen Tolbert lined up, and CeeDee's going to work in the slot and outside, Cooks is going to work in the slot and outside, and Tolbert's going to be primarily a boundary receiver, I love the opportunity that Tolbert's going to be the dude that's going to get that long ball, and he's going to get those post routes and those fly routes. And you're going to see some interesting stuff. As long as he can hold on to that position this year, he is well worth a late round flyer. Because, again, we keep iterating. Dallas doesn't have a running game currently. Don't know that they will in the near future. And Dak's going to have to air raid the shit out of the football.
I like that. I do. Jason, you done?
Yeah.
Okay, I've got one more. Because we'll need to wrap this episode up. It's Ty Chandler, running back for the Minnesota Vikings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Love it.
Guys, Aaron Jones, how old is he? 33, 32? He's getting up there in age. He's had a fair share He's had his fair share of tread worn on his tires. I know that he has been injured. I'm not going to call it injury prone because that word is, everybody's injury prone, but Ty Chandler is a very dynamic running back. If you think Aaron Jones is going to go out there and be a 3-down back, you are sadly mistaken. You are sadly mistaken. I know Shane likes it because Shane has brought up Ty Chandler on this show numerous times. Ty Chandler is a dynamic running back with a ton of ability. They just released McBride, Ngannou, or however you say his last name.
Kene Ngannou. Yeah.
It is Ty Chandler's backup. He is the backup to Aaron Jones, and he is going to play. There's not a lot of running backs in the league anymore teams that use one running back. They all do a dual threat running back system minus a few. There are a few teams out there, obviously, that run a 3-down back. You don't see it very often. Ty Chandler is going to get run. He's going to get play. He's similar to, in my opinion, I don't know what you guys think, but in my opinion, he's similar to all the buzz that you've been hearing about Tajay Spears and Tony Pollard. I kind of compared those two to Minnesota slightly. Ty Chandler is a very dynamic running back who's going to have a run. He's going to score fantasy points, and he is a player that I even am willing to put into my flex very early in the season. Very, very early in the season.
Oh, yeah. I flinched a little bit when you mentioned Tony Pollard, who I think could have an absolutely monster season. But yes, I agree with everything else you said. 110,000%. I've been a stan for Mr. Chandler for the entire offseason. So I have one more, and it's not Tony Pollard. It's Ray Davis.
Yep, I like that too.
Look, Buffalo lost Steph. They lost Tugboat Gabe Davis. They seemed to transition to a run-style offense last year. But they have a running back in James Cook that they don't fucking trust in the red zone. And they proved that by literally bringing in Latavius Murray to run in-zone snaps because they needed a body that they felt like they could trust. Ray Davis is that dude. He is a big-bodied back. He's a bruiser. He will get it down between the trenches and push it into the end zone. As far as flyers go at the ends of your draft, Ray Davis should be on the top end of that list because he honestly should be taken around Trey Benson territory. Not being disrespectful. Benson's going to be a backup. That's what it's going to be. Right. He should be taken around Zach Charbonnet, Trey Benson, Blake Corum, that's the area he should be getting drafted in, if not earlier. And he is folding to RB 50, which means he's probably not getting drafted in your draft. Why? He's going to be the dude that's going to be getting all of the actual fantasy relevant touches. Explain it to me.
I
like that take.
I can't explain that to you, Shane. I agree with you 100%. I think Ray Davis needs to be drafted higher. But if he doesn't, and you did get him late in your drafts, or if you draft this upcoming weekend and you can get him late in your drafts, you need to feel extremely, extremely good about it, because I agree 100% with that Ray Davis take. Jason, are you done?
Yeah, I'm good. I was just going to ask the question, Ray Davis or Braelon Allen?
Ray Davis.
If it's this year, Ray Davis. If it's future, Braelon Allen, because it gives me more opportunity for Breece Hall to miss games. Because Braelon's filthy.
He's a beast, bro.
There's nothing I'm saying bad about Braelon here. Like, Braelon's is a filthy monster of an animal, but like, he's stuck behind one of the best running backs in football right now.
Yeah.
The other guy is stuck behind a good running back, not a great running back.
Yeah, it's good. Well, if you have a draft coming up this week, best of luck. Draft with confidence. Feel good about who you're taking. Go and get your guy if it's someone that you really, really, really want on your roster. Don't feel ashamed if you have to reach a little bit. You guys have any advice for anybody that is drafting this upcoming weekend? But be careful now, because us three are drafting in a draft here in the next 6 days. I think September 2nd. That's our
yeah.
That's our home.
Yeah, Monday of next week. So 6 days.
Do you guys have any advice?
Don't get so wrapped up in a player that you overspend. For reference, like, just because you love the situation or you love the player, for a perfect example, Devon Achane. He still has a very questionable backfield. I understand the love, and I know that I'd get some hate for this in the Twitter streets for the slander that I'm speaking, but you know, Raheem Mostert still exists. He's not the sexy pick.
Yeah.
But you're getting him 8 rounds later. Like, sometimes it's okay to miss on the sexy name and just go for the guy that's going to get you fantasy points, because, like, you know, the name doesn't win you a championship.
Correct.
Yeah. You can't win the draft in the first round, but you can definitely lose it. I like wide receivers. I don't mind going wide receiver heavy. You can get running backs later on in the draft. You can punt that position, and don't chase a quarterback early in the draft unless it just falls into your lap.
Love it. Love it, guys. All right, that's going to wrap up today's show. Remember, if you want to follow us on any of our social medias, go back to the beginning of the show. You can find the information there. Head on over to fantasy6pack.net. Become an all-access member, guys. It really does help out the brand. It helps out us. Unlock all the features that they have to offer. There is a ton out there, not just for the draft, but throughout the season, okay? There's going to be a lot of stuff on there. You'll be able to find our information on their website as well. As far as our betting stuff, you will find all our bets over there as well. Remember, guys, we are recording 2 separate episodes. We're doing a fantasy one and a betting one. So make sure to tune into both. Like, follow, subscribe, leave a 5-star review. We're everywhere. Shane, you got something before we wrap it up?
No, like, subscribe, go check out Fantasy Six Pack. Their projections are absolutely filthy.
Yes. And with that being said, y'all know what to do.
Hey, man, it's football. Let's get it. This is the best time of the year.
We're so back, baby. Thank you, Fantasy Six Pack. We appreciate you.
We love you all to the moon and back. Until next time and next episode. Peace out.